Practice the way you compete so you can compete the way that you practice. Why on earth would you practice 3x3, one handed, three blind, 2x2, scube, and pyraminx when we compete in all of these events on Stackmat and we all know for a fact that Stackmat makes you slower and it makes a significant difference in your performance and your times. It just doesn't make any sense to practice on keyboard, and I don't understand why so many people use keyboard to time their solves, especially if you're a highly competitive cuber who's very concerned about the times you're getting and you're looking to podium big comps, break records, win comps, rounds, set streaks, all that type of thing. There's just no reason to practice on keyboard, and I'm going to be using this video to explain why I believe that. So first of all, I think one of the good reasons to practice on Stackmat is to successfully simulate a comp while you're practicing. So as I mentioned with that starting quote, you actually just, the best way to practice for something, whether it be cubing or swimming or running or powerlifting, you have to practice the way you compete. If I'm powerlifting, there's no reason for me to use equipment that I'm not allowed to use in practice. There's no reason for me to cheat on a lift. There's no reason for me to squat higher than the regulations. That's just lying to myself. And once meet day comes, I'm not going to be able to perform the same way that I expect myself to perform. Same way in cubing. If you practice on keyboard, you're not going to be very well adapted to Stackmat, and this is going to make you nervous. Some people try to counteract this by, say, they do keyboard for the majority of their solves, but then leading up to competition, they'll switch to Stackmat, and everyone kind of accepts this to be acceptable, but I don't think it is at all. Because think about it this way: if you have 2 months to prepare for competition, for the 6 months, for 6 weeks, you're most likely going to be doing keyboard because you're not really thinking about the comp that much. So say during those 6 weeks you do 6,000 solves. So you have 6,000 solves on keyboard done now, and over those 6 weeks you've improved your skills. You're really efficient at doing keyboard solves. All right, then during the last 2 weeks leading up to the competition, you're going to start getting concerned, like, oh, I'm going to have to use a Stackmat at this competition. Maybe I should practice that. So say during those last 2 weeks, you practice every single day with only Stackmat, and maybe the first couple days you're freaking out, oh no, I suck on Stackmat, but you still get 2,000 solves done, and by the end of it, you go into the comp thinking that you know what you're doing and you're skilled on a Stackmat. But the problem with this is that you've still done 3 times more keyboard solves than Stackmat solves. So you're still going to be way more comfortable on the keyboard, you're way better adapted to the keyboard, and the Stackmat will just make you nervous and uncomfortable. So there's one aspect to it, but this is definitely not the main issue. What I have the biggest issue with is that using keyboard for the majority of your practice gives you a false concept of what you actually average at an event. A lot of people say, oh, I'm too lazy to use Stackmat. I know I'm a bit slower on Stackmat, but I don't care. Stackmat isn't necessary. It doesn't make a difference. Just stop lying to yourselves. Everyone knows it makes quite a big difference, especially at the world-class level. Even if you think you know what you average on Stackmat, just doing like an average of 50 could completely change your mind. For example, I thought I was averaging like anywhere between 5.9 and 6.1 on a given day, and then I started practicing a Stackmat, and I was 0.3 to 0.5 slower, so around, I don't know, like 6.2 to even 6.5 and upwards. So definitely everybody is slower on Stackmat. Usually for people my speed it's about 0.3, a little slower 0.5, but that fraction of a second definitely makes a difference, and if you go into a competition having those expectations of performing well, it's just not going to go well for you, and it's just not a good way to track progress. Sure, if you improve on keyboard, you're going to improve on Stackmat. However, having a good idea of what you average on Stackmat is absolutely essential, so you can actually know how good you are at this event and what you can expect to get on comp day. I'll give you another analogy. So, in running, Olympic sprinting, you wouldn't see like Usain Bolt training the 100-meter dash with a running start. Like, starting keyboard is such a big advantage that like having the cube in your hand or your hands around the cube, it's just so easy to average 0.3 faster, and that's the exact same thing with any other sport. If you start swimming with like a running start, you dive and then you finish like a half second earlier because you magically have a longer arm, or once again you start track with a running start. It's just completely different, and you just can't use that as an effective way to practice, because as in cubing, like starting the stack mat is a skill. I've had so many times where I'm competing and I'm a bit nervous, right? I go to start the solve and I just fumble the cube because I'm so used to doing a ton of keyboard solves. Even when I'm stopping the solve, I'll be doing LSE, I'll finish, and usually I just stick my pinky out and stop the keyboard, so the cube's kind of still in my hands. But when I have to stop a stack mat, say I do an M, now my hand's in an awkward position, so I have to take another like half second to stop the timer, and that's very annoying. Similarly, if a sprinter is practicing for a track and field meet, if they just do running starts for all their 100-meter dashes, they're gonna suck at starting off the starting blocks. It's just they're not gonna have that skill. Even if they practice for 2 weeks, they've been training the rest of their training block with a running start. So there's completely no point in practicing with a keyboard. You should stop lying to yourself about what you average and just practice Stackmat. You're gonna suck at first. It's gonna be discouraging, but it's gonna be worth it in the long run, because then you're gonna have a better indication of what you average. You're gonna be true to yourself about how you're performing, and you're just gonna develop better competing skills, and it'll be a good situation overall. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this was useful. Oh yeah, one more thing. I actually have a 5.8 average of 100 on keyboard, but I think my best on Stackmat is 6.1. So I talked to Felix, and he has similar 3x3 times, I think around 5.7, and he was also averaging like 6.2 on keyboard. So I think within the next couple months or so, I'm going to be doing pure Stackmat for sure. I'm just never going to do keyboard again. And I told Felix he should do a lot more Stackmat now too. The wire thing, connecting it, is very useful. So yeah, sub 6, average of 100 on Stackmat. Someone's going to get that eventually. Felix, Max, me, Patrick, Nam, whoever. But yeah, Stackmat, everyone hop on that Stackmat grind, please. Do yourself a favor. Do all of cubing a favor. Stop using keyboard. Every keyboard average I see uploaded, I'm just going to comment, keyboard is cheating, use Stackmat. End of discussion.